When the cold sets in, you'll need more than a fuzzy blanket or warm sweater to stay cozy. Nothing heats up a home quite like a hearty, comforting meal. These forgotten winter recipes will take you back to a time when the kitchen was the heart of the house, filling the air with rich aromas and bringing families together. Each dish on this list is perfect for those winter nights of swirling snow and biting winds. Grab your jacket and let's get started. Stewed rabbit with root vegetables.
Today I'll show you how to prepare this delicious creamy rabbit stew with a creamy polenta or a creamy cornmeal.
Rabbit stew used to be a winter staple, but it's one of those hearty dishes that have vanished from many family tables. This forgotten recipe brings back the warmth and tradition of cold weather cooking. Rabbit, with its rich, earthy flavor, was once common in many homes, especially during hunting season from October to February. Today you might have to search a bit, but many stores still carry frozen rabbit if you ask. This stew is a true taste of the past. You'll need rabbit pieces, simple veggies like onion, celery, bell pepper, carrots, mushrooms, and potatoes, along with herbs like thyme, rosemary, and sage. Start by seasoning and dredging the rabbit in flour, then brown it in oil. Sauté your veggies, add a ham and garlic, and return the rabbit to the pot. Pour in red wine, chicken broth, and bay leaves and let it simmer. After an hour, add the carrots, mushrooms, and potatoes and simmer a bit longer. Thicken the stew with a flour and tomato paste mixture. This comforting old-school dish will warm your home and reconnect you with the forgotten flavors of winter. Savory bread pudding.
Just look at that savory spinach cheese bread pudding. My mouth is watering.
Savory bread pudding is one of those forgotten winter recipes that deserves a comeback. Once a staple in many homes, this comforting dish is a delicious way to transform stale bread into a hearty, warming meal. Unlike the sweet versions you might be familiar with, savory bread pudding is packed with rich flavors from ingredients like cheese, herbs, and vegetables. It's a perfect side dish, or even a main course on chilly nights. The beauty of this recipe lies in its simplicity and flexibility. Start with chunks of day-old bread. French, sourdough, or even a rustic loaf work best. Mix it with eggs, milk or cream, and your favorite savory additions. Think of sautéed onions, spinach, mushrooms, or even bacon. Add a generous amount of cheese, such as sharp cheddar, Gruyere, or Parmesan, to give it a gooey, satisfying texture. Once the mixture is combined, bake it until golden and crisp on the outside, but soft and custardy inside. The result is a warm, filling dish that feels both nostalgic and indulgent. Bringing back this forgotten recipe will add a comforting, old-world touch to your winter table. Oxtail soup.
Today, I'm going to show you how to make Korean-style oxtail soup.
Oxtail soup is a classic winter dish that has unfortunately fallen out of favor in many households. This rich, hearty soup was once a staple on family tables, especially during the colder months. Made from oxtails, this soup is packed with deep, savory flavors and a melt-in-your-mouth tenderness that comes from slow cooking. The meat, cooked for hours, breaks down and becomes incredibly tender, creating a flavorful broth that's the heart of the soup. To make oxtail soup, you'll need a few key ingredients: oxtails, onions, garlic, carrots, celery, tomatoes, herbs like thyme and bay leaves, and beef broth. The oxtails are browned first to develop a deep caramelized flavor. Then, they're simmered with the vegetables and herbs, along with some red wine or vinegar to enhance the richness of the broth. The slow cooking process allows the collagen in the oxtail to break down, creating a velvety, almost gelatinous texture that makes the soup so satisfying. After several hours of simmering, the result is a warm, comforting soup perfect for a cold winter night. It's a dish that brings families together, often served with crusty bread to soak up the flavorful broth. Reviving oxtail soup is a wonderful way to reconnect with those forgotten flavors of winter. Cornmeal mush. Cornmeal mush is a dish that brings a sense of warmth and simplicity, evoking memories of a time when comfort food was made with just a few basic ingredients. It's a humble yet satisfying dish that has long been a staple in many households, especially during the colder months. With its roots in early American cuisine, cornmeal mush is often overlooked today, but deserves a place back on the table. This dish is made by slowly cooking cornmeal into a thick, creamy porridge. The ingredients are simple: cornmeal, water, salt, and a bit of butter. The key is to cook the cornmeal slowly to avoid lumps and to achieve a smooth, velvety texture. While cornmeal mush can be served as a side dish or breakfast, it can be easily transformed into a main course with a few additions like savory meats or vegetables. For a sweet variation, drizzle with honey or maple syrup, or top with fresh berries. Whether enjoyed as a savory or sweet dish, cornmeal mush is the kind of comfort food that brings people together. It's easy to make, hearty, and filling, a forgotten gem that's perfect for cozy winter mornings or evenings by the fire. Bring it back to your kitchen for a taste of history and warmth. Beef and barley stew. Beef and barley stew is the kind of dish that feels like a warm hug on a cold winter day. It's the type of comforting, satisfying meal that fills your kitchen with delicious aromas and your stomach with pure contentment. With the tender chunks of beef, hearty barley, and a medley of vegetables, this stew is a true classic. Yet somehow, it's a recipe that's been lost in the shuffle of modern cooking. This stew is all about layers of flavor. The beef is browned to perfection, creating a savory base for the broth. Then you add onions, carrots, celery, and garlic, letting them soften and mingle with the meat. Barley, the star of the dish, soaks up all the rich flavors and adds a delightful chewiness that makes every spoonful a delight. The addition of herbs like thyme and bay leaves elevates the stew, while a splash of red wine or broth brings everything together into a hearty, soul-warming meal. Perfect for winter nights, beef and barley stew is a meal that's easy to make but feels like it took hours of love and attention. Whether served on its own or with a side of crusty bread, this stew is a forgotten winter gem that's waiting to make a comeback at your table. Turnip gratin. Turnip gratin is the unsung hero of winter casseroles, a dish that has all the creaminess and indulgence of its potato counterpart, but with a slightly sharper, more refined flavor. It's a comforting, hearty side dish that's perfect for cozy dinners, yet somehow, it's one that often gets overlooked in favor of more traditional gratins. But trust me, once you try it, you'll wonder why turnips weren't always the star of the show. Start with thinly sliced turnips, their mild, slightly peppery taste balancing beautifully with the richness of a heavy cream, butter, and a generous helping of cheese. A sprinkle of garlic and a few sprigs of fresh thyme bring out the turnip's earthy flavors, while a crispy, golden crust forms on top as the gratin is baked to perfection. The combination of creamy layers and tender turnips creates a melt-in-your-mouth experience that's both comforting and elegant. Turnip gratin is perfect for when you're craving something a little different but still want that cozy baked goodness. It's a forgotten classic that deserves to make a comeback on your winter table, offering a delicious alternative to the usual potato dishes. Apple pandowdy. Apple pandowdy is the kind of dessert that invites you to slow down and savor the season. Think of it as a rustic, warm apple pie, but with a twist that's both comforting and homey. This forgotten gem of a dessert is made with the tart apples, sugar, and a touch of cinnamon, all baked under a layer of golden, flaky pastry. But here's the catch. Once it's done, you dowdy it. Yes, that means you gently press the top crust down into the bubbling apples to create a wonderfully messy, caramelized topping. The result is a dish that's part cobbler, part pie, and all delicious. Apple pandowdy was once a staple for cozy fall and winter nights, offering a perfect balance of sweet and tangy. Served warm with a scoop of vanilla ice cream or a dollop of whipped cream, it's a simple dessert that feels like a treat from another time. It may have fallen out of favor, but apple pandowdy deserves to make a comeback, adding an old-fashioned touch to your winter table. Salt cod casserole.
Hi, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to make another bacalhau dish, the famous salt cod.
Salt cod casserole may sound like an old-fashioned dish, but this savory winter recipe is packed with flavors that have stood the test of time. In the past, salt cod was a popular ingredient because it was easily preserved, making it perfect for long winters. This casserole combines the rich, briny taste of salt cod with creamy potatoes, onions, and herbs, all baked together until golden and bubbling. The salty fish adds an irresistible depth to the dish, while the potatoes create a hearty, comforting base. Although salt cod casserole may have vanished from many family tables, it's a recipe worth reviving. The layers of flavor are unmatched, and it's the perfect dish to bring people together on a cold winter evening. Whether served as a main course or paired with a simple green salad, this casserole is a nostalgic throwback to a time when meals were made from simple, preserved ingredients that could last through the winter. Bring this dish back to your kitchen for a true taste of winter history. Mutton pie. Mutton pie is a forgotten winter dish that once graced tables with its hearty, savory filling wrapped in a golden, flaky crust. Made with tender mutton, often lamb or goat, vegetables, and aromatic herbs, this pie is everything comfort food should be: rich, flavorful, and satisfying. The mutton is slow cooked to perfection, becoming melt-in-your-mouth tender, while the vegetables like carrots, onions, and peas add both sweetness and texture. The gravy, made with broth and herbs, ties it all together into a warm, delicious filling. Baked inside a buttery golden pie crust, mutton pie is perfect for those chilly winter evenings when you crave something both filling and delicious. The best part? The crust. It's golden, flaky, and slightly crisp around the edges, offering the perfect contrast to the tender, savory filling inside. While it may be a dish of the past, mutton pie deserves a spot on today's dinner tables. Whether served with mashed potatoes or a simple salad, it's a dish that feels like a comforting hug. Bring this classic back to your kitchen and experience the warmth and nostalgia it brings with every bite. Baked rice custard.
And today we're making my winter warming
custard and rice bake.
Baked rice custard is an old-fashioned dessert that has sadly faded into obscurity but deserves to make a comeback. This comforting treat combines rice, milk, sugar, and eggs into a creamy, custard-like consistency that's baked until golden and set. The result is a rich, smooth dessert with the subtle flavor of vanilla or nutmeg, making each bite a cozy, sweet indulgence. What makes this custard so special is the texture. The rice adds a slight chew, while the custard remains silky and creamy, offering a delightful contrast in every spoonful. The beauty of baked rice custard lies in its simplicity. It's a dessert that requires minimal ingredients, but results in a wonderfully comforting dish that's perfect for winter nights. While it's easy to make, it feels like a treat that's been passed down through generations. Served warm from the oven, it's the perfect ending to a hearty meal. Whether topped with a sprinkle of cinnamon, a dollop of whipped cream, or served plain, baked rice custard is a forgotten gem that can bring a nostalgic touch to your next dinner. Chestnut soup. Chestnut soup is a rich and velvety winter dish that feels both luxurious and comforting, yet has slipped into obscurity. Made with roasted chestnuts, this soup has a subtle sweetness that pairs perfectly with savory elements like onions, garlic, and herbs. The chestnuts are pureed into a smooth, creamy base, while the broth adds depth and warmth. Often finished with a splash of cream or a dash of sherry, chestnut soup is a cozy and elegant starter to any winter meal. Chestnuts, once a popular seasonal ingredient, bring a unique texture and flavor to the dish. Their earthy, nutty taste is softened by the creamy broth, creating a harmonious balance of flavors. This soup is perfect for those chilly winter evenings when you want something hearty yet refined. It can be served as a first course for a holiday feast or enjoyed on a quiet night in, perhaps accompanied by crusty bread. Chestnut soup is a dish that evokes old-world charm, and reviving this forgotten recipe brings a touch of nostalgia and warmth to the table. Bring back the flavors of this classic soup and savor the simple elegance of winter in every spoonful. Shepherd's pie, original lamb version. Shepherd's pie is a dish that evokes the warmth and comfort of home-cooked meals, and the original version, made with lamb, is a classic that should never be forgotten. Often regarded as a traditional English dish, shepherd's pie was born out of necessity, utilizing leftovers from a Sunday roast to create a hearty and filling meal. While many modern variations may use beef, which is technically a cottage pie, the true shepherd's pie uses tender, slow-cooked lamb, creating a dish with rich, earthy flavors that are hard to beat. The lamb is cooked with the onions, carrots, peas, and herbs like rosemary and thyme, creating a savory filling that's rich in flavor. It's then topped with a generous layer of mashed potatoes, which are piped into a beautiful golden crust. The mash is creamy and light, providing the perfect balance to the rich, flavorful lamb filling underneath. The beauty of shepherd's pie lies in its simplicity. The few ingredients work together to create something truly comforting. Shepherd's pie is a dish that brings nostalgia and warmth to the table, and the lamb version is a reminder of how simple ingredients can come together to create something truly delicious. Chicken fricassee.
Well, hello there, friends. One of my favorite chicken fricassee.
Chicken fricassee is a classic French dish that has been delighting taste buds for centuries. It's the kind of dish that feels like a warm embrace, creamy, flavorful, and utterly comforting. Made with tender pieces of chicken simmered in a white sauce, this dish combines the richness of the chicken with the delicate flavors of mushrooms, onions, and herbs, creating a savory masterpiece. Fricassee, a French term that means to braise meat in a white sauce, has roots in medieval cuisine, but became a beloved dish in both French and American kitchens during the 19th century. The chicken is first browned, then slowly cooked with vegetables like onions, carrots, and celery, allowing the flavors to meld together. A white sauce made from butter, flour, and chicken stock is then added, along with cream, giving the dish its signature richness. Some recipes call for a splash of white wine, which enhances the overall depth of the sauce. Mushrooms add an earthy note, while fresh herbs like thyme and parsley elevate the dish. The creamy sauce coats the chicken and vegetables, making every bite satisfying and comforting. It's often served with rice, mashed potatoes, or crusty bread, allowing you to soak up every last drop of that delicious sauce. Molasses and spice cake.
Let me show you how to make a really easy molasses cake.
Molasses and spice cake is a nostalgic dessert that combines the warmth of rich molasses with the aromatic spices of cinnamon, ginger, and cloves. This hearty cake is perfect for cold winter days and makes a delightful treat for the holidays or family gatherings. To make this cake, you'll start by gathering a few basic ingredients. The key ingredient is molasses, which provides deep, earthy sweetness. You'll also need flour, baking soda, and a pinch of salt for structure. The spices, Cinnamon, ginger, and cloves are essential for that cozy, fragrant flavor that fills the kitchen as the cake bakes. For the wet ingredients, you'll use butter and sugar to create a rich base, followed by eggs to provide structure and a moist texture. The molasses adds not only sweetness, but also moisture, which makes the cake dense and tender. A bit of milk is added to help with consistency, making the batter smooth and pourable. To make the cake, you'll cream the butter and sugar together, then add the eggs and molasses. In a separate bowl, combine the dry ingredients, flour, baking soda, salt, and spices. Gradually add the dry ingredients to the wet mixture, alternating with milk until fully combined. Pour the batter into a greased baking pan and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30-40 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. Stuffed cabbage rolls.
Today in this episode, we're making up another easy and delicious recipe, cabbage rolls.
Stuffed cabbage rolls are a beloved dish that hails from Eastern European kitchens, often associated with hearty winter meals. Traditionally, cabbage leaves are blanched and then filled with a savory mix of ground meat, typically beef or pork, rice, onions, and herbs. The rolls are carefully wrapped and simmered in a tangy tomato sauce or broth until tender. The combination of tender cabbage and flavorful filling creates a comforting meal perfect for cold winter evenings. This dish was a staple in many family homes, with variations depending on region and culture. In some places, the filling was enhanced with smoked meats, while others preferred a vegetarian version with rice and mushrooms. Cabbage rolls were also a great way to stretch meals for large families, as the dish could be made in large batches and often improved in flavor when reheated. Though once a regular winter treat, cabbage rolls have largely faded from modern dinner tables, replaced by quicker and less labor-intensive meals. However, for those who remember the comforting taste and warmth of this dish, stuffed cabbage rolls remain a cherished reminder of slower, simpler times. Parsnip fritters.
Today I'll show you how I made these deliciously crispy parsnip and potato fritters.
Parsnip fritters were a rustic, wintry dish that helped stretch the food supply during colder months, when root vegetables like parsnips were in abundance. These fritters were typically made by grating parsnips and mixing them with flour, eggs, and spices, then frying the mixture until golden and crispy. The earthy sweetness of parsnips, combined with a light crunch, made these fritters a perfect accompaniment to heavier stews or roasted meats, often served alongside a dollop of sour cream or applesauce. In past generations, parsnips were a common ingredient during winter months, as they could be stored for long periods and harvested even after the first frosts. Their versatility allowed them to be incorporated into various dishes, but parsnip fritters were a particularly favorite option in many households. As more modern and faster cooking techniques emerged, this simple yet flavorful dish gradually fell into obscurity. Fewer people know of parsnip fritters today, despite their ability to offer a hearty, satisfying meal. Rediscovering this dish offers a chance to embrace a time when food was both frugal and full of homegrown goodness, making parsnip fritters a delightful culinary throwback. Liver and onions.
So in this video, I want to show you how I make my really simple liver and onions.
Liver and onions was a once popular winter dish that has slowly faded from many family tables. Prepared by pan-frying thin slices of liver, usually beef or calf liver, and serving them with sautéed onions, this dish was often praised for its nutritional value, as liver is packed with iron, vitamins, and minerals. The savory richness of the liver paired with the sweetness of the caramelized onions made it a hearty, filling meal perfect for the colder months. Liver and onions also had a reputation for being a frugal dish, often made with affordable cuts of meat. For many families, it was a go-to recipe when budget constraints were a factor. Additionally, it was a favorite among those who believed in its health benefits, especially for maintaining energy levels during winter. However, as tastes have evolved and diets have shifted, liver and onions have become less popular. Some find the strong flavor of liver off-putting, leading to the dish's gradual disappearance from contemporary menus. Despite its decline in popularity, for those who recall the warmth and sustenance it provided, liver and onions remain a reminder of simpler, heartier meals. Split pea porridge.
One of my mom's favorite recipes is a classic split pea soup.
Split pea porridge, often associated with Scandinavian and Eastern European cuisines, was a staple winter dish that provided both comfort and nourishment. Made by simmering dried split peas with the vegetables like carrots, onions, and potatoes, and sometimes a piece of salted pork or ham, this dish was known for its rich, hearty flavor. Its thick, creamy consistency was ideal for cold, wintry days when something filling and warming was needed. The beauty of split pea pea porridge lies in its simplicity. It was inexpensive to make, utilizing basic pantry staples that could be stored for long periods. Split peas were a reliable source of protein and fiber, making the dish both hearty and nutritious. Often served with crusty bread or pickles on the side, split pea porridge was a complete meal in itself. Over time, as convenience foods became more prevalent, split pea porridge slowly faded from many tables. Its humble ingredients and slow-cooked nature made it less appealing in an age of quick meal. However, for those who remember it, split pea porridge is a comforting reminder of a time when meals were nourishing, simple, and meant to bring families together during the harsh winter month. Roasted goose.
If you're looking to serve something very scrumptious for the holidays, let it be this beautiful roasted goose.
Roasted goose is a dish that once graced many holiday tables, bringing a sense of luxury and tradition to family gatherings. This succulent bird, with its rich, flavorful meat, was often the centerpiece of festive meals. Roasting a goose is a simple process, but the result is a meal that's incredibly rich and indulgent. The bird is seasoned with herbs like rosemary, thyme, and sage, and then roasted until the skin is crispy and golden brown. The fat from the goose slowly renders out during the roasting process, infusing the meat with flavor and ensuring that it remains moist and tender. Goose is often served with classic sides such as roasted vegetables, mashed potatoes, or stuffing, and its flavorful drippings are used to make a delicious gravy. The meat itself is darker and richer than turkey, with a slightly gamey taste that pairs perfectly with fruity sauces such as apple or cranberry that help balance out its richness. While goose may have been a more common choice for holiday feasts in the past, it has slowly fallen out of favor due to the popularity of turkey and other meats. However, it's a dish that deserves to be rediscovered, offering a unique and flavorful way to celebrate the holiday season or special occasions. Roasted goose is the perfect dish to bring people together for a memorable, indulgent meal. Winter vegetable pasty. The winter vegetable pasty is a hearty, comforting dish that was once a staple for cold winter nights. Originating from the UK, this pastry was traditionally filled with a variety of seasonal root vegetables such as potatoes, parsnips, carrots, and swedes, all seasoned with herbs and sometimes a bit of cheese for added richness. The filling was wrapped in a flaky pastry crust and baked until golden brown, creating a warming, portable meal perfect for a chilly day. The beauty of the winter vegetable pasty lies in its versatility. Families often used whatever vegetables were in season, ensuring the dish could be made with affordable, locally grown produce. The pasty was especially popular in mining and agricultural communities, where it served as a convenient, filling lunch for workers. It could be eaten on the go or enjoyed as a full meal, making it both practical and delicious. As pre-made meals and convenience foods became more widespread, the tradition of making homemade pasties slowly declined. Though not as common in modern kitchens, the winter vegetable pasty remains a beloved reminder of simpler times when home-cooked, nourishing food was cherished during the colder months. Sago pudding.
And it's hot, man. We are tucking into classic winter favorites, Clover fresh milk sago pudding.
Sago pudding is a classic winter dessert that has been enjoyed for generations, particularly in the UK and parts of Asia. Made from sago pearls, which are derived from the pith of the sago palm, this pudding has a distinctive texture that is both smooth and slightly chewy. The pearls are cooked in milk or coconut milk and sweetened with sugar, then flavored with vanilla or nutmeg. It's often served warm, making it a perfect dish to enjoy during the colder months. Traditionally, sago pudding was a frugal yet comforting treat. Its simple ingredients and ease of preparation made it an ideal dessert for families looking to stretch their budgets while still indulging in a warm, satisfying finish to a winter meal. The pudding's creamy consistency, paired with the subtle sweetness and delicate flavoring, made it a beloved dish for children and adults alike. Despite its long history, sago pudding has become less common in modern kitchens, replaced by more popular, elaborate desserts. However, for those who remember it, sago pudding is a nostalgic reminder of the comfort and warmth of home-cooked sweets from days gone by. Whether served plain or with a drizzle of the fruit syrup or a sprinkle of cinnamon, it remains a cherished dessert for many. Potato and leek soup.
This potato leek soup is a comfort food classic and one to cozy up to when the weather gets a bit nippy outside.
Potato and leek soup is a timeless, comforting dish that has warmed the hearts of families during the colder month. This simple yet hearty soup features the mild, earthy flavor of leeks paired with the creamy, starchy goodness of potatoes. The leeks, sautéed in butter until soft, form the base of the soup, while the potatoes provide a smooth and satisfying texture. Often seasoned with herbs like thyme or bay leaves, the soup is simmered to bring bring out the natural flavors of the vegetables, creating a warm, fragrant dish perfect for winter. Historically, potato and leek soup was a humble dish, often made with ingredients that were easily accessible and affordable. It became a favorite in rural kitchens, where leeks and potatoes were staples of the diet. Over the years, variations of the soup have emerged, with some adding cream or broth for a richer texture, while others opt for a more rustic, chunky version. Though less common in modern dining, potato and leek soup remains a nostalgic comfort food for many. Its simplicity, warmth, and ease of preparation make it an enduring recipe, a reminder of a time when meals were nourishing and made with whatever ingredients were on hand. Beef tongue.
With Anthony Bourdain's cookbook, we're making a beef tongue today.
Beef tongue, a once celebrated dish, is known for its tender texture and rich, flavorful taste when prepared correctly. Traditionally boiled or braised with onions, garlic, and aromatic herbs like bay leaves and thyme, beef tongue has a unique texture that becomes melt-in-your-mouth tender after slow cooking. After cooking, the thick, leathery skin is peeled away, revealing a smooth, rosy meat that can be sliced thin and served hot or cold. Once a popular meal in many homes, beef tongue was often served with simple sides such as mashed potatoes or pickled vegetables, allowing its natural flavors to shine. It was also frequently featured in sandwiches, sliced and paired with mustard or horseradish for added zest. Though less common today, beef tongue remains a delicacy in many cultures, especially where nose-to-tail eating is still celebrated. For those who remember it, beef tongue represents a resourceful time when no part of the animal went to waste, offering a rich and hearty flavor often absent from modern cuts of meat. Suet pudding.
Welcome to What's Cooking with Roberta. Today we're making suet pudding.
Suet pudding, a traditional British comfort food, is a rich, dense dessert made with suet, animal fat, flour, breadcrumbs, and sugar, often flavored with dried fruits such as raisins or currants, and spiced with nutmeg and cinnamon. Suet pudding is steamed to perfection, resulting in a moist, spongy texture that is both hearty and satisfying. Historically, suet pudding was a popular winter dish, especially during the colder months, as it provided a hearty and warming meal. The fat in the suet gave the pudding its unique richness, while the sweetness from the dried fruit balanced the savory notes. Often served with a custard, syrup, or a dollop of cream, suet pudding made for a filling and comforting end to a meal. Though suet pudding has fallen out of favor in modern times, it remains a nostalgic dish for many who remember the days when this indulgent dessert was a staple in the kitchen. Its simplicity and warmth are reminiscent of a time when food was both affordable and satisfying. Cranberry swirl bread.
Today we have paired a really simple recipe with our 21 Seduce. It's cranberry cinnamon swirl bread.
Cranberry swirl bread is a delightful and festive quick bread that brings together the tartness of cranberries with the sweetness of cinnamon, creating a perfect balance of flavors. The bread's light, fluffy texture is complemented by a ribbon of sweetened cranberry sauce that runs through the center, creating a beautiful swirl pattern once sliced. Often made with a combination of fresh or dried cranberries, sugar, and a touch of orange zest, this bread is both vibrant and flavorful. This bread was a favorite during the fall and winter months, often served as a special breakfast or alongside a holiday meal. The tartness of the cranberries is a welcome contrast to the rich buttery dough, and the sweetness of the cranberry swirl elevates the overall flavor. While cranberry swirl bread may not be as widely known today, it remains a beloved seasonal treat. For those who remember it, this bread is a nostalgic reminder of cozy gatherings and holiday meals, where the tangy sweet bread added a festive touch to the table.